Hello everyone. In our last session, in our previous session, I have given an introduction on JavaScript and have shown you how JavaScript works. So from today onwards, we are going to learn JavaScript in detail. So what is exactly JavaScript, where to use it? Yesterday I demonstrated where you can use JavaScript. Using JavaScript, I have shown you few validations. We have written few JavaScript functions and we used them to validate the web form. Okay, before we submit to validate it, we have used it. But today we are going to look into in detail of the JavaScript programming language. Okay, so let me give an introduction once again on JavaScript. JavaScript was released by Netscape and Sun Microsystems in 1995. Initially it was called as LiveScript, but later on changed to JavaScript. But Java and JavaScript are different totally. Syntactically they may look similar, but they are totally different. So JavaScript is an interpreter, Java is a compiler. Of course, Java also has some interpretation, because when you write Java code, you first of all compile into bytecode file. That bytecode file will be interpreted by Java runtime environment. But as far as JavaScript code is concerned, this also requires runtime environment. That runtime environment is going to be browser. So browser first of all downloads the pages. In that pages you contain actually the JavaScript. Okay, so once the JavaScript is loaded into browser in the concerned page, JavaScript can work. So therefore JavaScript is going to be interpreter within the browser. Okay, it is going to be interpreter, it's not compiler. No code is getting compiled here. On the fly it will be interpreted. So let us see the features of JavaScript. See, for example, you might be knowing the difference between a compiler and an interpreter. Okay, compiler and interpreter. See, I try to give an example. In India, on 14th August, the President of India addresses nation on the occasion of the Independence Day. Independence Day is on 15th, say August. Okay, so on 14th, on the occasion of the Independence Day, President addresses the nation. The President may be addressing in English or in Hindi. But India has so many states and so many languages. Every Indian may not be knowing English and Hindi. Okay, so few may know English, few may know Hindi, okay, few may know other languages. So everyone cannot understand the English language or Hindi. So therefore in such cases it has to be translated to their regional language. So first of all, what happens here? The President, whatever the President is addressing, that is recorded. Then after that, with the help of the language experts, it is translated to regional languages. Okay, so once that is translated to regional languages, we don't require the source. Whatever is recorded, that's not required, because translated part can be played, that can be broadcasted. So this is what exactly compilation. At the time of compilation itself, you require language translators, but once compiled, once translated, no longer you require language translators there. So this is called as compilation. On the other hand, suppose a summit is going on between the, say, Indian Prime Minister and the Russian President. This is the case. Indian President speaks either in English or in Hindi. Russian President speaks only in the Russian language. Assume the scenario. Okay, or it can be Chinese President. So in such cases, what happens? Whatever Indian Prime Minister is saying cannot be understood by Russian President. Even though they understand, they never speak. They always speak in their language only. Okay, so whatever Indian Prime Minister is saying, that can't be assumed that can't be understood by the Russian President or Chinese President. So in such cases, what is required? You require an interpreter or a translator again required. The translator should be available as long as they are discussing. Okay, as long as they are discussing, the translator must be in between them. So with the help of the translator, that can be translated. This process is called as interpretation. So therefore, the translator always should be there whenever the discussions are going on. This is exactly interpretation. So same thing happens in the case of interpretation. In the case of interpretation, whatever code you want to interpret, that should be present. At the same time, the interpreter should be behind. So browsers must be supporting therefore the interpreter. So they should have interpreter. The interpreter should be implemented within the browser. Otherwise, JavaScript cannot work. Sometimes what happens in the browsers, you can turn off JavaScript. When you turn off JavaScript, at that time also the interpreter cannot work. Okay, because JavaScript is not secure. So due to that, people normally they turn it off. But see, today's web applications are actually Web 2.0 based applications. User has to have more and more interaction, and these are based on the RIA, rich internet applications. So without having JavaScript enabled, getting enabled, you cannot achieve it. So therefore, today's websites must be powered with the JavaScript. Otherwise, you cannot totally enjoy the Web 2.0 features. So you cannot call them as RIA applications. So therefore, you require definitely JavaScript enabled in the browser. Modern browsers definitely, without JavaScript enabling, you cannot tap the power of actually those browsers. So JavaScript is what therefore interpreter. First of all, JavaScript is a programming language. It is an interpreter, as I told. It is actually, it is object based programming language, even object oriented also you say, but in a different way we implement it. Object orientation concepts we implement in a different way when compared with the popular languages like C++, Java or C#, Ruby. All these are actually object oriented languages. Okay, so these are, the JavaScript is supported by almost all the browsers. All browsers they support JavaScript. It is supported by all the browsers. Similarly, these days JavaScript is used in the server side. Even in server side we can use it. Then what is the specialty of JavaScript? Where do we use? See there. See, we can use it to, we can use them for the multimedia purposes. Okay, with the help of the JavaScript, we can show, we can hide, we resize images, we can change images. Okay, sometimes what happens, you can make animations, image rollovers you can make, and you can show scrolling text. Okay, status bar, all these are possible with the help of the JavaScript. Suppose you want to display some timer, some time you have to show on the web page. How you can do that? With the help of JavaScript only you can do. Otherwise it's not possible. So because we show the clock like hours, minutes and seconds. So once for every second change you cannot go back to server, and from server you cannot fetch. Therefore JavaScript should be working, it should be working in coordination with the system date and time. So like that, JavaScript can be used for say status bar to show the other time. Similarly, sometimes you may be creating some text which may be scrolling advertisements kind of thing shown with the help of the JavaScript. And sometimes you can show some content, you can hide the content, you can resize sometimes images, you can hide the images. So all these actually you can achieve with the help of the JavaScript. Similarly, we can create content dynamically. So we can create content dynamically depending on the user choice. Okay, so depending on the user choice, content can be dynamically, and here the pages also can be customized as per the requirement of the user. As per user's requirement, the pages can be customized. Sometimes you can show images, sometimes you need not show images. Okay, so sometimes what happens, detailed text you may see, sometimes only summarized text you can see. All this you can make with the help of the JavaScript. It's possible to use JavaScript. So whatever user interested in that, with that it can be made. User interest means in the page whatever features are available, with that only user can select. Similarly, it can interact with the user. Okay, we can interact with the user. Some forms processing, yesterday we have seen there, we can validate user input. Okay, before the user submits form to server, it can be validated. So these can be few uses of JavaScript. Few uses I said you. Like that there can be many more uses. You have Ajax. With the help of Ajax, partial postbacks are possible. Okay, so these are going to be advantage with the JavaScript. Now how to write JavaScript? See, JavaScript we are going to embed within the HTML pages. If you look at this, we are embedding JavaScript with the help of the script tag within the HTML page. Within HTML page, we are embedding it. Okay, so whatever code we embed, it is actually interpreted and it is running in the client's browser, whatever browser it may be. It can be Chrome, it can be Explorer, it can be Firefox. In whatever browser you are trying to view your web pages, there JavaScript is going to be running. So you can embed JavaScript within the HTML document. In the HTML document you can embed. So as far as HTML document is concerned, there are going to be two sections in that. One is head section, other one is body. The head contains actually style as well as script. One is style, other one is script. Okay, in the body part you contain the content. In the body you have the content. So here therefore the JavaScript you are going to embed inside the HTML document. Okay, so here we embed the JavaScript in the HTML document, and this JavaScript is interpreted by the runtime environment, that is nothing but browser. So browser is going to be interpreting it. Okay, so it is going to be interpreted by browser. So browser contains actually JavaScript interpreter, which is part of the browser, and the JavaScript feature you can enable or you can disable. But if you enable, the dynamic features of JavaScript or dynamism you cannot add to the web pages. If you want to achieve dynamism to web pages, in such cases you require the JavaScript enabled in the browser. Okay, so let us see the features of JavaScript. First thing is here, JavaScript cares about the case sensitivity. Okay, it is exactly what? It's a case sensitive language like C, C++, Java, C#, all they are case sensitive languages. Sometimes that's why it is called as, JavaScript belongs to C family of the languages. Okay, it belongs to C family of the languages as far as syntax is concerned. As far as some programming constructs are concerned, it belongs to C family of the languages. But it's not a compiler, it's only interpreter. It is going to work only with the web browser. Okay, sometimes you can develop code for the server side, that's a different one. Okay, so here we write JavaScript code, we embed within the web page, and other thing is what? It's case sensitive. That means what? It differentiates between uppercase and lowercase. Okay, similarly it's going to ignore white spaces between words, and between words white space are ignored. White space meaning is what? Tab is white space, a space is white space, one space can be accounted there. Similarly, if you can be providing lot many spaces, all they are ignored, it's going to treat like one space only. So we can have line breaks within a statement. Okay, they are going to be ignored. That means they do not treat it as actually them like line break. If you press simply enter key, it's not line break. With semicolon only you are going to form the line break. So lines they get ended with the semicolon. To end a line or to end a statement, we require semicolon. So using semicolon only, lines you can end. Okay, lines you can end with the help of the semicolon. Normally when you press enter key in the word process, it's called as line break. But for programming languages like JavaScript, C, C++, Java, then C#, what happens PHP? You need to end statements using semicolon. Using semicolon, you end them. But languages like VBScript, VB or VB.NET, what they use exactly? They use enter key to separate lines. So that is what actually line sensitive language is VBScript, whereas JavaScript is actually case sensitive language. Okay, and you end the lines using semicolon. Statements can be ended with the help of the semicolon. Here line is meaningless, we should say statement. Statements end with the semicolon. Okay, so we can embed code using script tag. Using script tag we can write code. You can see here script type equal to text / JavaScript. Then here we are writing some code. Where exactly script tag is ending, here it is ending. This contains now 3 different functions. One is validate, then validate input, one more thing is username change. Whenever username is changing, in such cases what is happening, whenever it's less than 1, it displays username is missing, something like it displays. In the span, yesterday I explained that, in last session I explained that. So all these are nothing but JavaScript functions. These are nothing but JavaScript functions. Okay. In JavaScript also you can use comments. Comments can be a single line comment or it can be multi-line comment. You can do with the single line comment. Like this you can write. This is a single line comment. So these comments are ignored by the interpreter. JavaScript interpreter is going to ignore the single line comments. Now here I can put actually a multi-line comment. This is a multi-line, press enter key, then put comment. Like this you can put, followed by star and slash you put. Now what happens? In 2 lines you are writing comment. The first one is single line comment when you use 2 slashes, but when you put slash stop, this is a multi-line comment. Comment you are writing physically in the next line, then star you put, slash you put, this is called as here a multi-line comment. It's not any valid JavaScript statement, it's only just comment. Okay, this is called as here comment. So like this we are going to write comments. Comments always gives the readability to the code. Try to write always comments. So if somebody is going through your code, they can easily understand. See, one point we need to remember, if you are writing quality code, definitely the code should be lasting for a longer period of time, and people who are going through that code, they should understand easily. Okay, so this is basically good quality, the quality of good code, I can say. If you are writing better code, this should be the quality. First of all, there should be comments wherever it's possible. Similarly, it should be very simple, it should be readable. When the user is reading it, the user should be in a position to understand it. Without difficulty, the user should understand. Because you may be creating few pages today, so there you are using JavaScript heavily. Somewhat complex code you have written. If you don't put comments, see, for whatever organization you are working today, you may not be working with the same company. If you go away from the company, if somebody is taking, somebody is taking responsibility of your code, so in such cases, if you put comments, then they can easily understand it. Okay, so if you don't put comments, definitely following that code can become actually very difficult. So therefore, though you may not be working, make your code is lasting for a longer period of time. Virtually you can be present in such cases. Okay, so therefore whatever code you write, it should be readable, it should be easily understandable. Okay, and you need to use proper indentations. All the things are required for good coding. So try to write always good and better code. So within the script tag, you write the comments. Okay, this is nothing but actually a script example. We have seen here few examples for the script tag here. Here we have defined 3 functions. First one is what? Validate. Second one is here validate. First one is validate. Second one is going to be validate input, and third one is username change. Whenever username is changing, it's going to display some text for that. So these functions are getting executed in response to the actions, certain events which are taking place on the HTML elements. So here these are going to be, first 2 are going to be working with the submit button. When you click on the submit, these can be getting fired. Similarly, the username change event is going to be firing. After typing some text into text box, when you move away from that, when you blur that, in such cases that's going to be firing. You can see the code here. You can see the code, input type equal to text, name equal to username, ID is username, value equal to empty, there is no value in that, on change equal to user name change. We have this event, we have this function calling. So whenever text is changing in the text box, when text change in the text box, this is going to be getting fired. Okay, therefore, let me once again run this and show you. Now let me show this in the browser. I got like this. Now let me type here, like this I am trying to type something. Okay. Now as soon as I focus into some other thing, here the star disappeared, but I remove here this one. Now if I go into some other control, focus, it says username is missing. So here this is getting fired automatically. As soon as I move from the text box here, this is getting fired here. So like that I have written an event, I have written a function. So the function is getting executed in response to some event taking place with the control. So what is that control? You can call it as HTML element. So whenever there is some event is taking place with this particular text box, I am going to fire the username change username, some method, function, whatever we have written, we are going to execute that. Here, what is the method I am using? If you come to this, on the top we have it, username change. Whenever here you type some text in the text box, then when you move away from that, it's going to call this. Similarly, when it is empty, in the right side, it's going to show you what exactly is showing there. It's showing username is required. So like this, you can actually write the JavaScript functions. You can use them in relation along with the events. Here on change is an event. Similarly, if you come to the submit button, on click, when you click on that, it's going to be invoking this validate input. So like this, you can invoke JavaScript functions in response to certain events which are taking place with the HTML elements. Okay. Now see where to write JavaScript. We have seen there in the head section of the HTML page, we have written JavaScript code. But see, JavaScript can be added in number of in different ways. You are embedding code here. Sometimes it can be inline code. Sometimes it can be external file. Okay, what happens? You are writing code and embedding with the same page. You are writing within the same page the code that is called as embedding the code. Second thing can be inline code. So inline code means along with the element you are going to write it. Okay. So one more thing can be here. You can write in some external file. That file you can refer in the current page. So here, like this, you can write the JavaScript in 3 different areas. One is what you can write code and embed in the same page. Second one, you can put in some external file. That file you can refer. Third one is going to be inline code. Along with the element, you are going to write the code. You are going to write code along with the element. So that is called as embedding within the embedding inline. So inline you can have. That means along with the element itself you can have it. Okay. So now let me try to show you how that's going to be working. For example, I have a text box. Okay. For that, I take this. So this is JavaScript basics. I put a title. I'm going to put a title like this. Now here I want to use 3 different elements. First one is for principal amount, second thing is rate of interest, third one should be here. So third one is going to be duration. So I want to calculate simple interest. I use the formula, principal amount, then number of years and rate of interest. When I multiply them and when I divide with 100, I get the simple interest. So therefore, let me show that. Here write, first of all, see amount. I just write like this, amount, followed by here input, type equal to text. Okay, type is text here, followed by here, type is text here, followed by here. Whenever I focus here on, I can use some, see, I want to on focus. I can take actually an event called as on focus. So whenever it's getting focus, in such cases, this code has to be firing for us. This code has to fire for us. On focus we use here. So whenever whenever I try to input some elements, here on focus should be working. Okay, so here it should be working for us. On focus I am taking here. Okay, so I should actually input data like this. Here in the script tag I can write it, script okay, on focus. First of all, what I do here, as soon as it's getting focused here, it should display some message, alert. It should say like this, please enter principal amount. Principal amount. this, I put it. A single quote I use like this, I am going to call on focus. Okay, now here I close this way. Now what happens in this? Let us see. Let me run this here. When I run, as soon as I click in that, it should display, please enter principal amount. Click on this, it's saying please enter principal amount. It's going to display this message box, because always focus is going to be in that only, that's why it displays in that manner. Okay, so here it says that please enter principal amount. It's going to display that way. So here this is called as inline, inline code. This is going to be here inline code. Here I am writing along with the element. So this I can say as inline here. This is going to be here what exactly? Inline, along with the element itself I have written. See, this is really not significant code. I am trying to show you some example there. That may not be having any meaning actually. But when you put something like that, that can be called as inline, inline JavaScript code. We are writing inline it is. Now similarly, in other example, we have embedded within the same page. In the same page, we have embedded, that is called as embedding. Now you can put in the external file also. In an external file, you can define JavaScript that you can use in the current page. Further, suppose now we create here some HTML page. I create actually some JavaScript page. Go to this, then click on add here, and I want to write here JavaScript file. My sample JS. It's going to have an extension called .js. I created here my sample.js. It is part of the root only. In the root of the website, it's available. Now here we should use it. So for using it, we need to use a script tag. Okay, here put like this, script, put like this here. We are writing script here, followed by, we need to write here src. Src we use here, src. We can pick the URL. Here see, you have my sample.js. I can choose like this. It's going to take from the folder. So from the root of the application, it's going to be picking it. So here it's in the root itself. My sample.js is going to be the root itself. So here we have like this. So self-closing is actually not valid. Therefore, you put this way. You can close like this. Once again, you can put here script. This way, this is fine. Browsers can understand. If you keep self-closing, they may not work sometimes. Script src equal to my sample.js, my sample.js.js, followed by closing this. But there is no code inside this. Now let us try to write code in this. I come to my sample.js page. Here I can write. I want to define a function. That function I would like to use there. So here see, like this I write function. Then what I do? Calculate SI, simple interest. I put like this. Calculate simple interest. Like this I want to calculate it. But this requires here 3 parameters. What are the 3 parameters? First thing is, here this requires PA, principal amount, RI, rate of interest, and other thing is duration. Okay, so this is going to be DN I put, duration. Like this we require here 3 different parameters to this function. Function calculate simple interest, PA, RI, DN. Okay, you can pass the elements or you can pass actually the values. So you can be passing elements there or you can be passing here values. First of all, let us pass values and see that. Now here calculate var. So using var keyword, you should define variables. You cannot specify any data type. Data type will be assigned in the runtime. Whatever type of data you are assigning to variable, that will be inferred there. So therefore at that time type of variable type will be inferred there. So as long as you don't actually you don't require actually any variable type of data there. So where you put followed by variable name, just we need to put, we need not specify any type of data. In the C what happens, int k you write, in Java you write int p, something like that. But here what is happening, you don't require any data type, just you need to put var keyword followed by variable name. Okay, so whenever you assign data to that, at that time type will be associated with the given variable. So as long as you don't assign any value, type will not, there is no type association with the variable there. So now where we have taken followed by, here you put SI, simple interest. This equal to, you require like this, PA multiplied with RI, then multiplied with DN, like this you can put, followed by here, this will be 100.0, like this you do it. Okay, now here you need to return SI, like this you write. And this you can use in more than one page. In more than one web page you can use it. You can use it in more than one web page. Fine. This is what exactly in an external file you have written JavaScript. This you are going to use with the HTML page with js.html. In this page now we can use it. We are referring it. So now come to this point here. Come to this. Then here remove this on focus. This is not required. I have demonstrated it for the sake of actually showing you what is an inline JavaScript. This is nothing but inline JavaScript. Now I remove this. Okay, I am going to remove this here because this is having, I am going to remove here, followed by ID equal to, put it as principal amount, PA I put there, followed by, I put here BR. With BR it is going to be breaking the line. Next write interest rate, or just put rate, give a space, then write input, followed by here type equal to text, then write here ID equal to, this again what, interest rate, IR I put here. Okay, then close this, followed by, once again you put BR, then here next thing is duration. Here write input, type equal to text, then here ID equal to, it is some DN we put, then close this here, the tag, then you put a BR here, followed by, we use here, we use actually here a link, anchor tag we use here, then write href, normally we use anchor tag to move from, for navigation purpose, from one page to another page. When you want to go, you can use anchor tag, but in a different way I am trying to use it now. So here write ID equal to, ID is also not required here for this, but on click I write, I can write here on click. Okay, whether any on click is it available or not, let us see whether that event is associated with the hyperlink or not, let us check. Okay, on change on click we have here is an event, on click equal to, we need to call that. What is the method exactly? The method is going to be here, we need to call the method. Okay, so here the method must be, now come to here once again one more code also you should write. You should be writing some other piece of code. Here write script, okay, followed by type equal to text, followed by JavaScript. Then here you write the code. The code must be here, declare like this, function calculate, like this you do it, followed by inside this, first of all you should get the values. You need to get the values here. Okay, what values we need to get here? From the PA and from the say IR and from ID. For amount you have a text box, you can identify this with the help of the ID. Rate you can identify with the help of the IR, and duration you can identify with the DN. Like this we are defined there. Now here we should call actually calculate method. We are going to call here calculate function. We are going to call calculate function here. Then after that here close this way, then type here calculate simple interest. Like this we put it. But inside this we need to call the function which we have defined in the external page. External page is here exactly what? It is external page is, if you come to the mysample.js, calculate simple interest. This is the function we need to use here in this. But before that we require values. So here write var, this is a amount or amt equal to, we need to retrieve the amount from the PA, that is. So therefore here write parse, first of all int, we need to convert it to integer, parse int we put here, or else you write here parse float, because whatever you enter from keyboard is going to be in the text format, that you need to convert into numbers. Otherwise first what I do, I just retrieve the amount from the say I retrieve amount from the text box called as PA there. Here write document dot get element by id, then here we need to specify the element name, it is nothing but PA, we put like this, then write here dot value. So with the help of this you retrieve it. This is for what exactly? To retrieve amount from the PA. ID is what? PA. So from the input PA we are retrieving it. Now similarly var, you write here rate, we take like this here, var rate equal to, here write document dot get element by id. Okay, once again we use here get element by id, based on the id we retrieve data, then here put ir. This is for what purpose? For rate of interest, we take like this. And third one is var duration, this is equal to, write here document dot get element by id. Okay, then here in the double quotes try to put it as dn. So this way we try to retrieve the values. We are getting here values. If you get simply values, that is not enough, you need to convert that into numbers, because whatever you get is here, it's pure string data only, it's nothing but text data, pure string data. This you need to convert into, floating point data. So therefore we need to convert that. For that purpose we have predefined functions like float, parse float. With the help of parse float we can be converting it to floating point data. Okay, so here now let us calculate var. So here what we do, var simple interest equal to, we need to call the function. What function exactly it is? You have a function called as, in the mysample.js you have a function. What is the function name? This is the function name we need to call here. So here come into this page, then put here. When you put bracket here, it shows you require 3 parameters, PA, RI and DN. First parameter is actually amount you put, the second parameter is going to be RI, rate that is, and third parameter is going to be duration we put. Okay, but if you put simply, they are nothing but text, they are going to be text. You need to convert them into proper type of data, then you need to pass them as variables. Here write parse float, you can write here we have there parse float. In the same manner we can be using here this one also, parse float. Okay, here also we are parsing it. Even this one again parse float. Like this we convert the duration. This way try to calculate simple interest. Followed by here we use alert now here. Alert, here write the simple interest is, but here whatever you have is in the number format, numeric format. We need to convert that into integer, string. Si dot, whether you have any toString, you have a toString method. With the help of this, you can convert it. You can call like this toString. With this, you can show it. So what we have done here, we have created a function called calculate. We are embedding within the same page. Okay, then here we are calling some external function. The function is defined in the mysample.js. We are referring that page with the help of the script src equal to mysample.js followed by closing script tag. So here we are going to call calculate simple interest. We are calling here calculate simple interest. With the help of that, we are trying to what we do, we are trying to here now calculate. This should give us the simple interest. Okay, so therefore in three different ways you can write JavaScript code. So one is what? Inline. The example you have seen, as soon as the text box is getting focus, it is displaying some message. The second thing is what? Within the same document you can embed code. This is nothing but embedding code. Okay, in the same document we are embedding, but this code is referring some other function also. From where the function is getting called, from external file it's getting called. So this is what exactly calculate simple interest, where this function is defined in the mysample.js file. It's created. You can see here. Okay, you can see you should have actually the very first as lowercase alphabet, then similarly it's correct. Now here also we should do in the same manner. Here also we should do in the same way, because case sensitive language. Now the calculate simple interest is defined within the mysample.js file. So from that file we are calling, that is called as external file. We are referring external file and we are embedding code inside this document also. So in the document, in that code, we are calling some external JavaScript files function, that is calculate simple interest. Okay, so whatever amount we get, whatever rate we get, whatever duration we get, here they are going to be the text format. We need to convert them into integer, into numeric format. We are converting into numeric format. After that, we are trying to calculate them. So it's calculating and giving us SI. SI is nothing but here simple interest. So let us now run this. It's having like this amount it is. So amount I enter like 2000. The rate of interest is some 1.6. Duration is going to be some 6 I give. After that I click on this. It says the simple interest is 192. It's giving actually this as here 192. So like this we could do the coding here with JavaScript. We have written inline function, then internal function and external function. This is called as internal. Inside the document you are embedding it, just like the CSS, just like cascading styles. You can embed within the same document also between the script starting and closing tag. Like this you need to embed here within the same document. And similarly we are calling from the external file also. I created some library, JavaScript library. From there I am calling, and here I use that function. But to use that function you need to refer the external file name like this, script src equal to mysample.js. Like this I am calling it. So this way we can write here JavaScript code in three different places. One is internal, other one is inline, third one is going to be external. So internal is nothing but embedding JavaScript in the same page. So inline meaning is what? Along with element name itself you can use. And third thing is what? Here you can keep the code in a separate file. So when same code you want to use in more than one page, in such cases put in the external file, then use again and again the same code in different pages. So like this in different areas you can write JavaScript code and you can use. Now see, here whenever you write any program, so basically why do you write program? To process data. So how data is available to us? Data requires some, you need to put into some variables. So when you put into variables you can manipulate it. So therefore declaring variables is very important whenever you are dealing with the data. So without variables you cannot hold any data. So it can be variables or it can be constants. Okay, but normally we have variable set of data. If it's constant, if you write simple function, that's enough. But we process data whenever it is actually not fixed, when it's changing. In such case only programs help us a lot. So here programmers, we use normally we use variables to store values. A value, a variable can hold different type of data. For example, you take where amount you have written. It can contain string data, it can contain numeric data, it can contain true false values, it can contain date, it can be containing some object, JavaScript object, or it can be an array. In different ways it can contain the data. Okay, so as far as variables are concerned, variables can hold in the JavaScript a numeric data or string data, true false values, a date data, or it can be an array, or it can be say a object. So it can have actually, it can hold different type of data. We deal with the string data. String means it can be one character or it can be more than one character. Similarly, numbers may be here exact numbers or they may be actually approximate numbers. Exact numbers are integers, approximate numbers are going to be floating point data. Okay, similarly you can have true or false values. One more thing is you can have date time data also, date and time also you can have. One other type is going to be arrays. Arrays are actually heterogeneous, aggregate homogeneous data, that is called as like actually array. Similarly, one more thing is JavaScript object. Object is something similar to structure in the C language. Okay, so in the object you can have different type of data. You can have different type of data kept in the object. So object you can compare with the structure of the C language. Roughly you can compare like that. So you can have different type of data. In the variables you can hold all that kind of data which is needed, like numbers, or it can be strings, or it can be date time data, it can be true false data, it can be an array, or it can be an object. Like that we can actually hold data which is the variables. So you need to use some rules actually whenever you want to create any variable. Okay, whenever you want to create any variable you need to follow certain rules. The rules are going to be, very first thing, in fact for identifiers it's valid. Identifier means a constant can be an identifier. Okay, a variable can be identifier, a function name also can be an identifier. Very first letter of the identifier must be an alphabet or it can be an underscore. You cannot use the digits there. If you try to use digits, that is wrong. You should use only alphabets, or you can use an underscore. You can use underscore, or you can use actually an alphabet. But we can use actually numbers in a variable name. We can use numbers, we can use digits in the variable name, but that should not be first. So it can be anywhere in the middle. It should not be first character. After first character you can have it, or after like last character you can have there. So but very first character must be always an alphabet or underscore. Remember this. And whenever you declare a variable, there should not be spaces in the variable. Should not use spaces. Okay. So similarly you need to follow certain convention. If you look at this, calculate simple interest. Here there are three words in this. Calculate is first word, simple is second word, interest is third word. So therefore first word is in the lower case, subsequent words are going to be in the say proper case. This rule also you need to follow. You need to capitalize the very first letter of every word except the first word. First word is calculate in the lower case totally. Subsequent words you are showing them in the you are going to show them in the proper case. You are capitalizing very first letter for the subsequent words. So this convention we need to follow. Following this convention is very, very important. Okay, so you need to follow that convention. First thing is what? We can start a identifier name. Variable identifier meaning is what? A variable, a constant, or it can be a function name. So these can be normally called as identifiers. So identifiers must be getting started with an underscore or with an alphabet. They should not start with a digit. Remember this. Okay, they should not start with digit. They should be starting with alphabet or underscore, not even with space. The only allowed characters as first character is here an underscore or any alphabet, can be uppercase or lowercase. But remember that JavaScript can differentiate between uppercase alphabets. Suppose you declare int a lowercase alpha a you are using. Similarly, you are writing float uppercase a. So they are going to be totally different variables. Small letter a and uppercase alphabet a are going to be totally different variables there. So it has actually case sensitive features. So it can differentiate between uppercase and lowercase. Remember. Okay. Similarly, numbers or digits can be added in the variable name, but not as first character. After first character, you can add anywhere. Even you can use a dollar in the ending. Sometimes you can use a dollar symbol also in the ending. And whenever you declare a variable, there should not be spaces. For example, here see, calculate simple interest. Between calculate and simple, there should not be any space. If you put space, it is going to be in fact wrong. It gives actually error message. So there should not be spaces in the variable name. And one more thing is what here, as I told, very first letter, very first word of the identifier, if it contains multiple words, the very first word must be totally in the lowercase. Subsequent words, very first letter must be capitalized. Like that we use. Here to declare variables, we use the var keyword. Using var keyword only, we should declare variables. To declare variables, we should use actually var keyword. Okay. And to assign values, we can use equal symbol. Using equal symbol, we can assign. Var amount equal to document.getElement by id pa dot value we write. So whenever it is string, if it is string data, we should put in single quotes or in double quotes. For example, I declare a string variable this way. Within the script I am trying to do, not in any function, I write like this. Var greeting. Something like this. I am trying to declare a variable called as greeting here. In the greeting, I write like good morning. This is valid. Strings can be kept in the single quote. Similarly, var greet, one more variable I am declaring here. This time I say good evening. Like this, I am going to write good evening. Okay, here I want to use actually double quotes, not single quote. I would like to use here double quotes. So like this, either I can use single quote or double quotes. I can use single quotes or double quotes for strings here. So strings you need to embed in the single quotes or in the double quotes. Okay, so we can use single quotes or double quotes for the strings there. So using var keyword, we can declare a variable. Var greeting equal to good morning. Normally global variables, they don't require like that. Only the var keyword is required in the case of local variables. Now I remove here var keyword. Similarly, here also I remove var keyword. What happens, see now in this. I have written greeting equal to good morning, greet equal to good evening. Now here, let me call the function. I am going to call some function here. In that I should use greeting as well as greet. Now here write function. Put like greet me. Okay, greet me, I write here like this. Then here I would like to go with alert, followed by here I put greeting. Like this I use here. Alert greeting I write. So here you don't require var keyword for this variable, because this is going to be a variable, global variable I say. This is going to be global variable, whereas variables whatever you declare inside the function are called as local variables. Only in this function these variables are available. Whereas greeting is going to be available anywhere, in any function this can be available for us. If you try to use here AMT in the alert, it displays a message undefined variable. It says undefined variable. Try to use here. Now let me show you here alert, followed by here some SI I show. It says actually undefined variable. Now let me run this. Greet me I should be calling. I have to call this greet me as soon as here on load I want to show this. Here write on load. Okay, whenever document is getting loaded, at the time itself I want to call this, followed by here I put greet me. Like this I am going to call this. Greet me I am going to call whenever document is getting loaded. First one should give a message good morning, but the second one said as variable not defined. It says good morning. Second variable is not available at all for us. The other variable is not available because here the variable is not declared. Alert SI when you say, it's not at all actually firing for us. So on load equal to greet me we have taken. Now suppose greet me function, this is fine here, greet me is available. Instead of calling here somewhere, so somewhere here I want to call this. After entering values I want to call there. On load now I remove here. So what happens in such cases, see now. I delete this, try to run this here. Now enter here some amount 120, here followed by 4, then followed by here 5. Calculate simple interest 24 it says, good morning it says. So after that it's not showing any value because this is first of all in the numeric format. Then write si dot toString, let us put like toString this one. Now try to run this, again try to run this. So enter here some 1200 followed by 3, then here it is 4, calculate simple interest 144, good morning. After that also it is not showing. So reason variable is not available there. Greet me function is not available because here one more thing, fine, okay. So should use semicolon also there. Once again let me run this. Here I enter 1200, then I enter 5, enter 6 here, click on this 360, good morning. So it's not displaying here because the variable is not available here. When I write here si dot toString, it's not available because si is not part of this. But if you declare where si somewhere here, definitely you can get it. So here remove si, on the top we can declare si here. Take si here, si equal to, put here 0.0 f, like this let us put. So 0.0 only we just put here. It's going to be a floating point data. Now here let us try to print what will happen. See, enter some 1200, okay. Now enter here some 3% and followed by 5%. Now click on this. After that showing 180, you can see 180 is showing because the variable is available now everywhere. Variable we declared here, this is called as a global variable, but when you declare a variable inside the calculate function, it becomes local. So you can have two types of variables. One is local variable